The update.
Racing yesterday at Rosehill, the Golden Slipper BMW next Saturday. Let's look at the Golden Slipper market courtesy of Bill Hurley. And after yesterday, the big drifter was Millrich from 7-2 to 10s. I guess with Strategic, he might have come in at one stage after Millrich to even 6-4, but out to 2-1. Our Maze K has held his position. Octagonal is 4-1, and Ravada, who won brilliantly on Tuesday, is into 8-1. Keith Hillier, some big changes there. Strategic in a way, up and down yesterday. Up after Millrich's defeat, but then I guess he wasn't over-impressive himself in winning, though it was a big run all the same.
Yes, you had to think about it, Bruce. David Hayes probably best summed it up when he said Strategic should have been beaten, but he wasn't yesterday. It was a real workmanlike effort, and he probably should retain favouritism.
Max Presnell in Sydney, with him Bob Thompson, the trainer of Millrich, and also the trainer of yesterday's big race winner, Dane Wynn. Max, welcome as always. And Bob, first question to you, what about Millrich? Were you disappointed yesterday in her run?
There's no question I was disappointed with her effort yesterday. We experimented to a point that I explained to Shane that you know, we'd try and set her off behind the pace, and she resented that style of racing, and you know, she was beaten on the day.
So I wonder how will she be ridden? What will be the instructions on Saturday?
We'll use a brilliance on Saturday.
For speed?
Yes, definitely.
She slipped out to 10-1 in the market now, Bob. She's also slipping confidence-wise for you?
Oh, after Saturday's effort, you know, it was slightly disappointing. But you go back to the start even, you know, she didn't fly the start like she normally does. We'll be fully checking her out tomorrow morning. I've already been to the stable and had a look at her, and she appears 100% to me. You know, she cleaned up last night, and we're just hoping that, you know, we'll use a brilliance and we'll see a different Millrich on Saturday.
Max, we'll talk more about Strategic and I guess bring Millrich into it later, but what about the Rosehill Guineas? I mean, it was a great ride as it turned out by Jackie Shea. Dane Wynn. Do you think a great Derby trial?
Yes, I think the best Derby trial of the race. I'm a great admirer of Dane Wynn, always have been. I can't catch Jackie, though. Every time I'm on Jackie, he gets beat. Every time I gamble against him, he wins. But I don't know what you call him, but yesterday it was Jackie C, Jackie Che. It was Jackie Moore. Another fine ride, and I'm just going to go along with Jackie as if he's an Australian jockey and giving the horse every chance, which I think he probably has in all his Australian starts. What do you say, Bob?
Oh, yeah, I'd have to agree with that. Jackie, I just stressed on Jackie that when he made his move on this horse, he had to really hit him hard. And he still had the marks on him this morning, so the message got through, and a couple of good sharp cracks round the backside made this horse run yesterday, and it was a different horse yesterday to what it was in the Canterbury Guineas, and I really do put it down to just a little bit of a chat with Jackie, in as much as making him, when he first hit him, give him a couple of good sharp cracks.
What do you think, Bob, about the 2400 or the distance of the Derby? I mean, do you think he's a genuine stayer?
No, there's no question. Against his own age, he's a genuine stayer. He proved that in the Victorian Derby. You know, a horse to do what he done in the spring, as immature as he was, it was a very, very good effort, and the AJC Derby will be no different. He's a genuine stayer. He's a very relaxed horse. He just switches off during a race, and he's got that turn of foot when asked to go.
Bob, in the spring, you said he'd be the best three-year-old in the autumn. Yesterday he became the first to break the 2-minute barrier for the distance at Rosehill. The only worry, I suppose, you had during the autumn was the rider. Now, Lester Che aboard, you'd be content with him?
Well, if he can perform as well as he did yesterday on his back, the Derby should be his crowning glory.
Bob, this is undoubtedly, I would say, the best three-year-old running in Sydney at present, in Australia at present. Why isn't he running in the BMW at Rosehill next Saturday, which is a great race for three-year-olds? And when you consider that Stony Bay is going to be one of the favourites, probably the second favourite, I would have thought there's a nice, good chance of Dane Wynn picking up another $1 million prize.
Well, personally, I would like to run the horse in the BMW next Saturday. But I spoke to Sonny and Alex prior to yesterday's race, and they're both of the opinion that the 3 runs in 3 weeks would be too much for the horse, and it may jeopardise his chance of winning the Derby, which is the ultimate for them. BMW doesn't sound very important to Alex and Sonny. The AJC Derby certainly does, and I respect their wishes, and the horse won't run in the BMW, and will be running in the AJCW in a fortnight's time.
Let's look at the George Ryder for a moment. The clash here, Keith, of Ariba and Mahogany Max.
Oh, yes, and Hariba Hillier won the day as expected, and it was people like Max tipping Mahogany that got us the 4-1. 39 winners of Group 1 races collectively in this field. Max and Hariba led from go to woe.
No, it wouldn't have been Lloyd Williams or Kerry Packer's money that had anything to do with Mahogany. No, Mahogany was disappointing. I don't think, Bob, he acted well in blinkers, but what a great horse Hariba is.
Oh, he's a sensational. He was a horse that was really suited by the 1,500 metres at Rose Hill. He's a free-going front runner and very, very good sprinter.
Gee, Bob, what about in the straight when they came at him? We wondered then whether Hariba would find that 1,500 metres a test that he couldn't live up to. But he kicked away, he extended.
Yeah, I know some very, very good judges were of the opinion that the horse would do exactly what he done, and as it turned out, he did. He's a very, very good sprinter, this horse.
What about the mile at Randwick in the Doncaster?
Well, I think the mile at Randwick is going to be right up his alley. You know, it tends to favour horses like him. He doesn't pull. He'll be right on the pace. I don't think he has to lead, and it's going to take a smart horse to peg him back over the 1,600 at Randwick.
No, just behind the pack here, gentlemen, a horse in the blue and the white colour, Star Dancer, running into dead ends there. Now, look, he's nearly stopped to a walk. I thought that was a pretty handy run. I think that Star Dancer is worthy of consideration in the coming autumn races.
Yeah, I agree with you completely, Max. He had no luck at all. Certainly wouldn't have beaten Hariba, who is a most exciting horse. There's no question about that. And if you can win the Doncaster, you've got to say that he's close to a champion. Two
significant comments. Ken Newman said he'll never get into a handicap again with 55 kilos, and Patrick Payne said the 1,600 will suit him better. Let's go to Strategic. This was, I thought, a terrific run to win, Max. And in fact, I'd like Bob's assessment. He's in the cerise colours. You'd already seen your great filly Millrich go under. How did you assess this performance? Only a neck at the end, but gee, he had to do a bit of work.
He worked very hard throughout the race. He was trapped 3 wide for most of the journey. I would have to liken his run to Al Maysco's the previous week, and I think those two horses are definitely the two horses to beat in the Golden Slipper. A lot of merit in this horse. Darren made a bit of use of him a fair way out, but the horse kept finding something, and I think it's the makings of a very, very good horse, and he's still the horse to beat. He can't do more than win.
You'll see Zedrich change stride 1, maybe twice, maybe 3 times on the turn to get within a head of Strategic. Made his run even better than it looked as well.
There it is, just striking trouble there, Zedrich, getting to the outside. But note how Strategic sprints when Darren Beedman lets him go. Now, Beedman is of the opinion that when Strategic gets to the front, he starts to loaf. Considering the time, I don't know how relevant that is, because the time was just outside the race record, and by gee, he seems to be getting him right to the line there, but this is a ready-made racehorse. He does everything right, jumps well, takes a position, and can sprint. Certainly they're the attributes of a Golden Slipper winner.
Max, we do have to go. Bob, thank you very much. Just quickly, a tip for the Slipper. Bob, you sticking with Millrich?
I have to be solid with my own horse, but the two to beat are definitely Al Maysco and Strategic.
Max?
Strategic. And the one of the pair who is favoured by the draw.
Strategic or Al
Maysco.
They're betting each way again, Keith. Good on you, son.
We'll be both in Sydney next week, Max, to be sitting alongside of you next Sunday.
I can't wait.
We'll take a break. A real treat after this. One of the greatest sports people of all time, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, in the studio live.
Back the defensive player up. You got any questions at all? Kareem? Just watch him underneath. Underneath, okay. Have a good game. Lots of luck.
What a nice smile you've got.